seen our Sumeru friends for a while now. Paimon wonders how they're doing. Let's go to Sumeru's... Whoa, the academia sure is busy during the day. But where should we go looking for people that we know?
Traveler, Paimon.
Cyno! It's been so long since we last saw you!
Welcome back to Sumeru City. I'm delighted to meet you again. So, what brings you back here?
Oh, nothing in particular. Paimon just saw a really big mushroom out on the road the other day and suddenly missed all our friends in Sumeru.
Funnily enough, we were reminiscing about you recently too. It was at a group dinner. I look forward to hearing about your travels.
Really? You were thinking of us too? What a coincidence!
Indeed. Or as I call it, the... You really want me to say the rest? Okay. It's always rice to meet stew again.
Oh, darn, he said it.
You like that one, huh? You must if you remember it after all this time. Admit the truth. You have long been in awe of my razor-sharp wit.
All right. Here's your 500 Mora.
You're exaggerating. It's only
Hey, 500 Mora is still a lot.
All right. I'll treat you to some dessert. Anyway, I'm actually investigating a case right now. My mind is focused on work, which is why I didn't complete the joke at first.
A case? What happened?
Nothing major. But after finding out who was involved, I decided, on reflection, to handle this one myself.
Need any help? We only came here to hang out, so we've got the time. You may as well take us with you, and then when you're done...
Such enthusiasm. Are you worried I'll forget about treating you to some sweets if you're not around?
What? No!
Obvious enough. Still, it's a fine idea. All right, follow me.
Take it easy.
Do you see him? The old man flailing around?
Oh, is he the one you wanted to talk to about the case?
Correct. His name is Cyrus, a former Spontamod sage. He taught both me and...
Huh? Cyno's teacher isn't...
It's ridiculous. I'm just an old man who enjoys a spot of gardening, shopping, and wine.
Professor, I've brought some friends.
Ah, Cyno. Now who do we have here? Hold on, let me think. A flying fairy dressed in white? A youth who does not seem to hail from the... My goodness. You must be the legendary traveler in Paimon. I've heard all about what you've...
Wow!
I've told him about you before. You are my friends, after all. That's right. Let me summarize. A couple of days ago, Professor Cyrus suddenly received a threat letter.
A threat letter?
Exactly. Who sends a threat letter to an old man like me for...
This is the letter in question.
Cyrus, I have uncovered your secret. If you wish to prevent it from going public, leave 10 million Mora at the back door of the cafe. Secondly, don't come looking for me. You'll never find me. But I will always be watching you and all of your secrets. Finally! Wow, they sure didn't mince their words.
Clearly, this person must be...
10 million Mora. I'm just a single retiree with nothing to my name beyond the tomatoes in my garden. Where do people think I'm hiding 10 million more?
There were no witnesses, so currently the letter is all we've got. So, Traveler?
Paimon's ready to...
All right, take a look. Very good. The paper has a rather rough texture. It's not the typical kind.
Another thing is, some of these strokes look kind of blurred.
Possibly. And I bet the paper has something.
Most of the paper around here is much smoother than this, and the ink is absorbed quickly so it doesn't run. This paper, meanwhile, it's very coarse-grained.
It's certainly not the same paper as we use in the academia. But the ink is nothing special. Just regular black ink that gets a blue tinge when a...
So do we think the culprit has a connection with... Wait! Check this out!
Agreed. The staining suggests it was a colored liquid, not plain water.
A colored liquid?
Looks like we're thinking along similar lines. Let's go talk to...
Arav. Ah, there...
Mahamatra Cyno. Sir Cyrus. Ah, and the traveler...
As such, I'm inclined to believe that the culprit in this case is a student at the academia. Oh, one last thing. I'd start your investigation by taking a...
Oh, of course! You think the culprit spilled their coffee on the left?
They do look like coffee. Also, if I'm not mistaken, the letter is written on a type of scented paper that has aromatics added during the manufacturing process.
Ah, of course. Yes, like they sell in the gift shops. I remember now. Zaha Hadid.
Understood. I'll assemble a team to investigate.
You have my gratitude.
One last thing. Send some Matra to guard the entrances and exits of Sumeru City. And change into plain clothes. Don't let them see you.
Will do.
Great thinking, Cyno. So, yeah, they've probably been...
Yep.
Really?
The culprits approach. Whatever happens, they need this Mora. But just because they warned Professor Cyrus not to go... And crucially, the
Huh? Wait, are you saying...
Found you!
What do
You wrote the threat letter!
I don't know what you're talking about.
I sensed someone was watching us from the shadows the moment we entered the House of Dana. You managed to stay relatively well hidden. For someone reckless, there are a lot of people here, but we were looking specifically for Arav. Whoever followed us the whole way was likely to be the culprit.
I was just listening in, that's all. You know something big's going down when Mahamatra Cyno shows up, right?
You smiled when Arav left. I saw it as clear as day.
Is smiling a
There are coffee stains on the letter. You mixed some coffee with water, gently smeared it onto the paper, then wiped it off with a wet cloth. All closing off the exits to the city doesn't affect you, because you already live here. And as long as the Matra were focused on the cafes, the cafe was a red herring all along. You
can't pin this on me!
Really? Then why are you shaking like a leaf? The innocent have no reason to fear the Matra. Your heart's racing, and your eyelids are twitching.
I would never...
Don't try anything or you'll pay the price.
Well, that was over quick.
You're telling me. One minute I go out for a quick smoke, the next minute I see Arav. Looked like a young guy, too. Couldn't have been much more than 30. But after what he's done...
Everyone, it's all over.
Gosh, that was so...
The culprit's name is Uraka, a 16-year-old student in the Rotawe...
Huh?
16? Cyrus thought he looked 30-something!
We checked his records. He's 16, a third-year student.
But he looks so old.
Yeah, seriously.
Foolish child. He's too young for the criminal life.
We question the culprit regarding...
Oh, just spit it out.
Very well. It's our understanding that Araka is a mediocre student who has been underperforming in his classes. He started taking extra tutoring to improve his grades, but developed a gambling habit around the same time. Down on his luck, he went to the tavern for a drink and overheard some people chatting about Sir Cyrus's comfortable retirement.
Some old woman on the street? Goodness gracious. Has that rascal attended a single one of his classes? That old woman.
Is this going somewhere?
Oh, right, yes. So another thing. We don't just argue about tomato plants. And what are they trying to insinuate by comfortable retirement?
Maybe it's more the fact that you have the time to grow vegetables and...
Araka mentioned he'd heard a rumor, alleging that Sir Cyrus illegally obtained a large sum of money from the desert before retiring, and kept it for... Araka believes this money to be the reason why Sir Cyrus hasn't kept up with any academic research or other projects since his retirement. And...
Oh, Araka. I'm at a...
People make up rumors all the time. I am quite confident that Professor Cyrus has never...
Arav, you'll have to find some excuse to interrogate Araka again later. I need you to...
I completely understand how you feel, Sir Cyrus.
Oh, come on.
The academia will determine the appropriate disciplinary action against the student. And as for the individuals spreading rumors about the professor's obsession with tomatoes...
Who said I'm obsessed with some old woman on the street? What? You seem confused. Uraka is just a young boy who made a very rash and very stupid decision. All it cost me.
Please rest assured, Professor, that the academia will issue a fair and...
Yes, I have no doubt about that. But as a former educator, I'd still like to have a serious conversation with the boy's parent.
We looked into the family. Both parents are merchants, and they're often away on business.
Oh, what a... You don't have to seal the evidence away yet, do you? I'd like to have that letter back for the time being, if possible. We have to show them how serious...
The relevant authorities have already reviewed the evidence and are now discussing Araka's punishment. You can...
Oh, so you'll be able to...
Give or take. Case...
Very good. Well, thank you.
My apologies, Sir Cyrus, but...
Ah, I see. Well, that's a pity. Ah, and isn't Tainari in town at the moment?
Wait, you mean Tainari's
He is. Tainari's master, Sir Nephis, called him and Kale to the academia to help out on a project. Though I must say, I'm surprised you're extending an
Don't be outrageous. Nephis offend... Anyway, hurry up and fetch Tainari. Go on now. Not to brag, but we never had problems like this at Ratawa Hist back when I was still teaching, and it was students at the time. They'll tell you what a...
I was out in the forest at least 4 days a week back then, thanks to a colossal workload from Master. It wrought havoc on my poor tail, so I didn't exactly... Most of what I know, I heard...
Professor's become a lot more laid back in his retirement. He used to be far stricter, and was a...
Wow. It's hard enough to stay true to your principles as a normal person.
It's a pity Kale wasn't around at the time. I would have...
And then we'd have one more person who has to address Lisa as upper...
Really? Can't you just call her Lisa? She seems to prefer it when people treat her like...
Oh, believe me. Back when she was a student.
Whoa, more food? Are you sure about this? We don't want to take advantage.
Oh, don't worry about it. Order whatever you like. And if it's not enough, order some more. After all...
I thought I heard some familiar voices. Ah, and Sir Cyrus...
Oh, Kave, it's been a while. Zahahadi was talking about you last month. How have you...
I've been all right, thank you. You're looking...
Have you eaten yet?
That's awfully kind of you, but I had a late lunch, so I'm not really hungry just yet. I just came to Lombard's to buy some wine, and when I heard... So what's the occasion, anyway?
Consolation, more like. You...
Sounds like things have really gone downhill since I was there. My whole time...
I can't believe how young the guy is.
Young people are always more susceptible to making rash and ill-advised decisions. Their minds are... But still, this boy has some nerve.
Wow, yeah.
I will always be watching you, and
If this were my son...
Luckily, I'm also an extreme...
Kave! Your order's ready, sir!
Coming. I'll have to get going. Have a nice evening, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye!
Here I am. The coffee beans are in here too.
Yep, it's all there. I'll stop babbling away now.
Oh, too tasty.
Oh, mine too. I'll have to walk.
thanks for dinner, Sir Cyrus. Master Tainari and I will bring you some homemade.
Well, I look forward to that. In fact,
No problem at all.
I'll see you all later.
Good night, Professor. Don't let those...
Hey, my tomatoes are serious. Anyway, I'll be leaving now. Don't stay up too late now, children. I bid you all...
Take care, have a seat.
All right.
What do you mean,
Well, I was talking with Tainari and Kale, and since we all have some free time...
camping? Oh, that sounds fun! Paimon's in!
Right? It's been so long since we...
Everyone, let's meet tomorrow afternoon at the riverbank. No need to bring anything. We've already packed everything for the trip.
You got it, Will!
Great. Then we'll see you...
Time to set off. Let's head to the southeast of Gandharvaville and meet up with the others. We're here! Wow, you guys are ahead of the game. You set up the...
I'd say we're right about on schedule, actually. We were aiming to have...
Traveler, Paimon, let's go fishing together. Whatever...
You got it! Dinner's on us tonight!
I hope I can contribute too. The other forest watchers gave me some fishing tips a little while.
I saw some very appetizing mushrooms in the area, so I got...
Wow, camping with a forest watcher is the way to go! They think of everything!
This is true. I don't think I've ever had a single rough day in this forest.
So? How...
Well, there's been some high points and low points.
I see. Oh, in that case, you should try a valberry. I bought some from them.
A valuable suggestion. Just don't bury your feelings using food.
All I wanted...
Oh, I have a sudden craving for fruit tea. I'm gonna go fetch some stuff. Bye!
She sure made a run for it.
Unbelievable. She...
So Kale chose the path of tactical retreat. My dear friend, you know what I am about to say. Excellent! A kindred spirit. A great war... But it looks like...
We get a bite!
I'll reel it in.
Firewood, spices, snacks, and... There are 3 tents. Which one do you two want to take?
How about the one on the left? Well, Paimon just thinks he...
True. But it's also the closest to the water, if there are any
Well, that's no good.
Anyone would think you were sealing the gates to King De-
Excellent. Then this tent will be an impenetrable...
I'm back! How's your appetites? Ready for the barbecue?
Always. Oh, it smells so...
Someone sure is desperate to eat.
Wait, what?
Hey, if it works for steak,
Medium well for me.
Okay, these are about ready now then. It'll be a few more minutes for anyone who wants their...
Oh, that was so delicious.
I ate a lot too.
If you're tired, then go rest.
You must be getting sleepy too, Paimon. Why don't
Tonight, I show you mercy. Our...
Good night.
Paimon's struggling to keep her eyes open.
Oh, don't forget this. The staff of the Scar...
Wait, you were actually being serious?
It's a very
Paimon can't even live.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Paimon's sure. We'll be fine. And even if we do get an uninvited guest in the
That reminds me of a parting kick, but right now... I think they should all be...
Traveler? Paimon?
Look at this.
What the? What's this sword doing here? Is it...
Evidently.
Huh? Paimon's gonna take out the sword. Yeah! I'll hate them, Kave!
Sorry to wake you up at this hour of the night.
Let's get dressed and talk about it outside.
Something has come up. And since it pertains to Cyrus and Cyno, I deemed it essential to inform...
Whoa, back up. Let's start from... Where'd the wine cups go? I could have sworn I left them here after I washed... Ah, there they are.
I'll have a cup too.
Can you see if the cookies are still...
They are.
Oh, this is so bland. I should have gotten a few bottles of what Cyno's group...
Do tell.
Oh, right, I forgot to mention. So, I ran into Cyrus yesterday evening when I went to the tavern. Anyway, they got a bottle of Lombard's new vintage for the table. You know what it's about, right? 16-year-old kid tried to extort Cyrus.
I heard some people talking about it on the streets, yes. Didn't take them long to catch the culprit.
I wonder what Sir Nephis said. Oh, Cyrus showed me the extortion letter, too. It was crudely written, but the paper had this... give me a sec, I'll sketch it out for you. Okay, done. Take a look. You see what I mean? I don't think I've ever seen writing paper like this around before.
Interesting.
What?
Take this, for instance. Looks like an outline of a spire, similar to the kind. It bears a striking resemblance to an ancient emblem.
Whose emblem is it?
It's the emblem of...
After discussing it with each other, we both agreed that something didn't feel right. So we went look. This was a long way to come from the city. Alhaitham figured you were probably with Tainari, so Gandharvaville was our first stop. But then, just as we were heading off to the campsite, we ran into Cyno. He said he was on a supply run.
Hold on. So what's the deal with that emblem you were talking about?
Is everything okay? Give me a second.
So you've never heard of the Temple of Silence? Well, to put it these days, you can find a Temple of Silence office in the academia. Theoretically, it's responsible for the custody and disposal of at least, that's what they tell the outside world. In truth, it's essentially, historically speaking, the original Temple of Silence is said to have been established by Hermanu. By contrast, none of the Academia Temple's current members are from the desert region.
So the Temple of Silence at the Academia is...
It's possible. The real question is, why?
So, how do you know all this?
Did you forget? He did a stint as acting Grand Sage, and kept the pay raise even after he resigned.
Oh, yeah! Paimon did totally forget about that. So you took the chance to read all the top
If you're asking me whether I familiarized myself with the documentation in my office...
So much about this doesn't make sense. Why did the emblem of the Temple of Silence appear on a threat? The student's only 16, and doesn't have any family
You said you ran into Cyno, yes?
Yep. He ran off as soon as he...
Given that Cyrus is involved, he's... Still, we should try to catch up with him.
If the Academia's Temple of Silence really does exist just to cover up the truth, the sudden appearance of this emblem can't be good. We should pay a visit.
Yes. As the Sage of Amorta, my master ought to know the truth about their office.
If this situation is connected to the real Temple of Silence...
Kale, could I trouble you to send a message to the Core of 30? Traveler, Paimon.
Sounds like a plan.
Cyrus has been living in the city lately. He rented a place near the field so he can keep an eye on his... Here we are. This is the...
We might be too late. Looks like nobody's home. Oh, Cyno moves fast. If he was here...
I know that voice. Is that Tainari I hear?
Ah! Professor Zahad...
Wow, so it really is you. My goodness.
We're looking for Cyno.
Yes, not long ago, in fact. He knocked on my door. I told him the old fool left early this morning, and I hadn't heard him come back. It must have alarmed Cyno, because he took off in an awful hurry after...
Well, if Cyrus isn't out...
Professor, did you hear that a student recently...
Why, yes. When I left the house that day, I noticed he was watering his flowers in the field and I could tell something was troubling him, but he wouldn't tell me what it was. If Cyno hadn't... After seeing the letter, Cyno told him to contact the Core of 30, but Cyrus was very reluctant. He claimed it would only damage his reputation.
Huh? Cyrus didn't want to report it? Well, that's strange. When we saw him, he seemed pretty okay with the...
As a former sage, it's possible Cyrus still has enemies at the Academia. That's why Cyno was so insistent that he report the matter to the authorities.
So Cyrus initially hoped to stop this from going...
Oh, dear. What on earth has that old fool gotten? Oh, I almost forgot. Cyno left me...
Thank you.
What does it say? Let Paimon... My...
Yep, that sounds like Cyno. Thank you, Professor. Traveler, Paimon. Let's...
Take it easy.
You're here? I thought you were going after... Ah,
We went to Cyrus's house. No one was there.
he didn't say where he was going.
No, he left us alone.
Can't say I'm surprised.
Typical Cyno. Anyway, some updates on progress on our end. I drew the emblem from memory again.
I checked some ancient texts for a similar design. The one I found was a little blurry, but the similarities in the general form and certain
Yeah, and we're lucky we found anything at all. It turns out the emblem was all but lost to history. We scoured the entire Academia collection, and that book was the...
Meanwhile, Arav managed to get Uraka to disclose his source. The one who told him about Cyrus's embezzled funds was a young man from the desert. According to
Apparently, the two met in the tavern over a game of cards. The guy Uraka was intrigued when he heard what his new acquaintance had to say, and brought up the idea of extorting Cyrus for Mora. The guy encouraged him to go ahead with it.
I see. So it could be that this person planted the...
So, how do we find this guy?
He doesn't know. He claims not to have seen him since that day in the tavern. The man gave him some tips on how to carry out the extortion.
Nephis and Arav have gone to meet the core of Third. Also, Nephis admitted that the Temple of Silence in the Academia is just a facade. The true Temple of Silence once came to the rainforest to establish a collaboration with the Academia. But, as time went by, the Temple of Silence felt that they could no longer trust the Academia and ended the partnership. Ever since its inception, the Temple of Silence has been the guardians of King Deshret's civilization and belief system. They traveled through at its roots. It was a legitimate and reputable organization whose purpose was to guide.
The Academia of the day knew that the split would damage their reputation if it became a matter of public knowledge. And so, they set up...
Not only that, but they managed to...
So how did Cyrus become acquainted with the true Temple of...
I'll bet that's the question that bothered Cyno. Probably why he went...
Whoever is behind this, getting Uraka to extort Cyrus was only the first step of the plan. Their true goal in doing so was for Cyrus to see the
He must have recognized it right away. That'll be why he didn't want to involve the authorities. He probably hoped to take care of the whole...
Since the desert is where the Temple of Silence originated.
I have to go after him.
Really? Are you sure that's a good...
I should be fine, as long as I bring plenty of water. Besides...
Everyone, I have news from the core of 30.
Master...
Oh, so that's Nafis, Tainari's master.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Traveler and Paimon. Several independent eyewitnesses have reported seeing Cyrus and Mahamatra Cyno leaving the city at different times. Both were heading in the direction of Kara. I was going to suggest that you join forces with the core of 30 in this case. However, as I'm sure you've already heard from Al-Haytham and Kaveh, the Academia has made a number of decisions throughout history that I am ashamed to talk about. It may well be that no better choice was available to them, but those actions are nonetheless. I won't attempt to make you understand the Academia's perspective.
I understand where you're coming from, Master. But I'm afraid the situation might be more...
Good point. If Cyrus is involved, everyone, we have to get Cyrus and Cyno back safe.
Need our help? Whatever.
Really? Arav and I will continue to follow up on the lead from Uraka. Kaveh, Tighnari, you are planning...
I am. Kaveh, I'll be okay.
Well, if you're sure.
Thank you all. Arav, let's go.
You'd better get moving. Don't forget to ask for help when you...
Will do. Let's go, Tighnari. Hopefully we can...
Knowing him, he's probably covered a fair distance already.
Okay, we made it to Caravan Ribat. Where should we go next? Maybe we should ask the...
Hold on. Look...
Is that Dia?
You sure you want to brave the desert alone? I mean...
It's not my first time.
Cyno.
If you're really going to go through with this, then at least take our advice. When you're packing for your trip, budget for 5 days more than you plan to spend out there.
Makes sense.
Thought we might find you here. You're trying to retrace Cyrus's steps, aren't you?
Didn't I tell you not to come after me?
Well, sorry, but we never agreed to that. Why would you go off on your own?
Nothing personal. It's just a complex...
Takes a special kind of person to get Cyno chasing them all the way out to Caravan Reba. But why so coy today, huh? You only gave us his age and description. Why can't you reveal his name? Oh, also, hey guys, it's been a while.
Dia and Candace! So next...
You're looking well. Glad to see it. Candace and I came to Caravan Rebot on business. We ran into Cyno as he was asking about some elderly gentleman's whereabouts. Some people say they saw him. Guess he stood out as an older guy heading into the desert alone with just a sumpter beast in tow and very few supplies. That's gotta be one heck of a story.
Cyno, it's okay if you can't tell us anything about the case. But let us know how we can support you. We're here to help however you need. The more people we have working on this, the quicker we'll...
No, it's not that simple. If I'm right...
We spoke with Zaha Hadid. From what she said, it's pretty clear that he wants to try and...
Sounds like this is far more complex than we have...
Still, if he started from Caravan Rebot, the chances are that his route took him past our village. You may as well ask if anyone there is...
My thanks to you both. Once this is resolved...
Come on. No need to get all serious. All right.
Yes, we'll handle it from here.
All right. Then we'll leave you to it. Just remember.
And don't think you'd be imposing.
Don't worry, we'll keep him out.
Cyno should count himself lucky that the Traveler and Tighnari got here when they did.
The desert tests the character of all who enter it, and only those with wisdom and courage shall prevail. But take heart.
Hold on. There's a few things I'd like to clear up. So, after you left...
Clearly, we've only scratched the surface of the Temple of Cyno.
Do you have any connection?
I do. I trust you're all aware of the spirit that gives me my power. Hermanubis, the original... Due to my unique constitution, I was put through a number of trials in the desert when I was younger. But my memory of that time is... It's a good thing that Kaveh noticed the emblem on the letter. Without that, I don't know if we would have connected I did not recognize that symbol at all. Whether that's because I've never seen it.
Yeah, you're right. Thank goodness for Kaveh, and for all hate.
But Cyrus must have recognized it right away, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't have had any qualms about you reporting it. Oh, man.
I suspect so too. Professor has never once mentioned the Temple of Silence in conversation. And whenever the conversation
Well, speaking of avoiding things, you do...
Or rather, I don't see how I could manage to ditch you en route. So?
That's right. Fact is, we're coming with you whether you like it or not. So the best option now is to try to look out...
Fair enough. Then at least...
Works for me. All right, off we go. Let's start by seeing what the guards here...
Hello.
Mahamatra.
I'm looking for someone. So I'd like to confirm any recent foot traffic in...
A man matching that description passed by Aru village not too long ago. He stopped by to load up on food and walk.
Where was he
Let me think. He took a seat by the entrance of the village for a while, and had a brief chat with the person who came to deliver the water. He said he was headed... Do you have a map? I can mark out the...
I have one.
Great. There you go.
Thank you so much.
You've got a really good...
You're quite well. Best of luck.
Take it easy.
Sounds good to me.
It's time to pull the trigger.
I knew you'd miss me. Time to broaden the horizons again. I see everything.
Hold on. I see some people over there.
Do you think it's safe to ask?
Should be. I'll go...
No. I'll do it.
Huh? Why can't Cyno go talk?
Given my background, appearance, and the way I dress, I might not be the most welcome visitor here.
Ah, hello there. Hope I'm not interrupting. My friend and I are looking for an elderly man who's gone missing around these parts.
Oh, a missing person, huh? Sure.
I'm just wondering if you've seen him.
So, a silver-haired guy in a long robe, culture type.
He'd stand out like a sore
Yeah, sounds like the kind of guy we'd remember if we saw him.
He's looking behind me.
Uh-oh.
Your friend over there stands out a lot. Hey, aren't you
Yes, that's...
You don't seem surprised that I recognize...
It wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, you're the one looking for the...
I have a bad feeling about...
Someone's on edge. You don't... No need to hide it. I understand why you're wary of us. Still, you came to us asking for help.
I thought you were a group of merchants.
Your henchmen don't look like much. But something tells me they put up a better fight than most mercenaries.
Hey! Hear that?
Suits me.
Just cut to the chase already.
Alright, come with me. All of you. Don't you want to find a silver-haired, long-robed, culture type with thoughtful...
So you know where he...
Just follow me.
Take it easy.
And
What? Where are you looking? There's nothing.
please, step back.
Whoa, something's coming out of the...
What is this enormous building doing here?
And how was it so well hidden?
Wait, so...
Is this...
All good questions. There'll be plenty of time to address...
This is not what Paimon was expecting to find in the desert, especially not hidden right next to... Oh, Paimon's scared. They must have kidnapped Cyrus. Do you think this...
What's wrong? Thinking about your professor?
I just hope for your sake you haven't done anything.
Me too. Hope I haven't done anything to All right. You can wait. I'll inform our leader that you've arrived at the Temple of Silence. Sit tight until he comes to...
So he's just gonna leave us here unattended?
They can't have been at the oasis by chance. They were waiting for us. Whoever the
So this is the Temple of Silence. After leaving the rainforest, they hid themselves here?
Hey, look! That guy's coming back.
Don't worry. Someone will come and...
What's your name?
Sorry, guess I was so... My name is Sethos. I'll be here if you need me, but I'm not planning on answering all of your questions. Other than that...
So we're free to explore.
Yep. I mean, I'm not worried about you. Cyrus is here. And unless I've missed...
He's right. Well, if we've got... I never imagined that the true Temple of Silence would be hidden somewhere like this.
That's King Jeshra...
We should be wary of our hosts. Still.
Hey, Sethos!
Sure. Although, I'm assuming by chat, you mean you have... Not often. The Temple of Silence is a place of quiet and solitude. We don't get too many visitors.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, here he is. Grandfather, the person you wish to see is...
Well done, Sethos. Greetings, one and all. I am Ba Moon, the current leader of the Temple of Silence.
Professor!
Cyrus, are you...
Ah!
Watch what you're doing!
Oh, my apologies. We have no intention of causing you distress. But you must understand, Cyrus is of great... Cyrus owes me his life. And to the Temple of Silence, he owes a debt of gratitude. I let him go.
I wanted to end my feud with this old bag of bones before you caught up with me. Just leave, Cyno. This is a matter between us.
So that's why you didn't want to report the letter. You'd made up your mind to come here from the beginning. You only left in such a hurry to try and throw us...
Some things in life catch up with you. No matter what you...
Cyno didn't make us do anything. We came here for the same reason he did. To rescue you. We'd appreciate you telling us the truth.
My secrets are secret for good reason.
You're afraid, aren't you? You can't bring yourself to speak of your past deeds to the students. You recognized our emblem because for many years, you lived among us. Indeed, you all but became... You knew as soon as you saw the letter that we, not Uraka, were the ones speaking to you. It threatened you only because you know what you did. Your own guilt. For you, Cyrus, are a traitor. You once shared your learning with us, and joined us in our mission, but then you betrayed us. You bargained for your independence with your past contributions. We both know what I said to you that day. That as the leader, I grant you permission to leave, but that one day, the sands of time will catch up with you. And when that day comes, you must pay the price you owe.
You...
Hermanubis' might?
Does he mean...
The moon is right. They rescued me from the brink of death once. Many years ago in the desert. When he learned that I was it was a great, daring plan. Bamoon proposed that we implant bar fragments, shards of Hermanubis, into the bodies of suitable vessels. Many believers volunteered themselves for the experiment. But we soon discovered that the bodies of grown adults... One other child was identified as a suitable vessel.
For many years, the Temple of Silence had been in possession of 2 Ba fragments from Hermanubis. The test subjects were sent into a room that had been prepared for the ceremony, and instructed to approach the Ba. The original plan was for a 3-stage experiment. Resonance. As the second stage began, I realized a decision had to be made. Should we implant the fragments one at a time? This would allow us to monitor the results after the first round and adjust our plan accordingly. Or alternatively, but as I was deliberating, both Ba fragments suddenly became active. They glowed with a light we had never seen before. Our two vessels had both displayed great promise by successfully resonating with the fragments, to preserve our faith and our power.
Ultimately, I ended the experiment.
In recognition of your past contributions, I chose not to send someone to hunt down and kill you both. Your lives were spared, but I have paid a great price for you. But I have always wanted to see you, Cyno. Losing you and your Ba fragment dealt us.
I see. So that's how I gained...
Look, in essence, I borrowed your Ba fragment for a decade or so. And now you are seeking but you cannot lift a finger against Cyno. He is the General Maham...
I'm sure you don't remember anymore, dear Cyno, but you've met us all before. You and he, Sethos.
You'd like me...
As a follower of Hermanubis, I have allowed this power to remain in the rainforest for far too long. Now, it is time to...
That power is not yours to wreak...
You are wrong. Cyno was chosen, but he was not the only one.
So those are your terms for freeing the professor?
Despise me all you want. My sins are my own. The Temple of Silence is an innocent party. It is because...
So what you're saying is, the power of one Ba fragment is not enough? You're asking me to return the one in my possession, so it can be implanted in him instead?
Divine power causes great suffering to those who wield.
He is no longer a small child. But regardless, this burden is ours to bear.
Both my heart and mind are telling me that what you are proposing is a
Don't listen to him, Cyno.
I know. But if this is a question...
Sorry to interrupt, but in my view, there are a number of contentions here that say that Cyno refuses to return his power, and you also refuse to release Cyrus. Then, we are at an impasse. I find it hard to believe that you went to all this effort without... You're trying to gauge where we stand while keeping your remaining cards close to your chest. Well, my stance is...
Wait, those ears... So... We have a descendant of the Valuka. Everything we have longed for, Hermanubis will provide. Perhaps this very day, we...
Why is he coughing so much?
Pamoon!
Take our leader back to his room. Grandfather, I know what... I don't like to drag out conversation. Had Cyrus not stopped the experiment all those years ago, the plan would most likely have been a success. Still, it's no use talking about what-ifs. I'm not like my grandfather, but I see things a little differently. I don't believe the temple has the same, so I'm not going to force your hand. You're all free to leave. Except for Cyrus. My grandfather...
You have courage and wise judgment, kid. I truly wish that the temple would take an objective look at the academia of today. You've been to the city yourself. I'm sure things will only continue to
If you hadn't betrayed my grandfather, I might well be open.
Tighnari made a good point earlier. He said there has to be more to your plan. All you and Ba Moon are after is the Ba fragment. The professor will accept whatever fate you deem fit for him out of a sense of guilt. I am the one who has a choice to make. Ultimately, you want to trade...
I'm glad to see you're giving it some...
I won't forsake my professor. Nor do I intend to run from a problem that I must face.
That works. Oh, my grandfather still has a fair few things he wants.
Are you sure about
I need to think this through. Everyone, let's meet again later tonight.
All right, well, don't put too much pressure.
I've taken some time to reflect on this. If I had to, he's a stubborn man who tends to double down when he feels strongly about something. We won't get any—
I agree. My master Nephis says the same thing. Once Cyrus makes up his mind about—
So that's one thing. You've heard all you need to hear about the Temple of Silence. So on that, I don't have any— My own memories of this place are hazy, though. Probably something to do with the overpowering presence of the Ba fragments. I do remember having some fleeting moments of profound emotion when vague images would appear in my mind. I was still young then, and all I could understand was that there was a strong will inside my mind. Thinking back on it now, the power that came to inhabit my spirit was probably one of the cornerstones of their whole faith.
You're not gonna give in to their demands, are you? Surely there has to be another way!
No. I have no intention of returning it. I need this power to protect Sumeru. But the temple has the right to make the final decision over its fate, so I will challenge them head-on. And when the—
This reminds me of something Alhaitham mentioned to me just before we— Kaveh has made similar observations about the desert tribes from his work trips there. He says many of them have their own internal rules. They talk about the important— I think we could turn that to our advantage.
Wow, and just like
Looks like we have the same idea. Turn it back on them now while we still can, in terms that they cannot refuse.
Great. And I know just how to start the conversation. Let's go find Sethos. We'll tell him that I know a thing or—
Take it easy.
Sethos, let's talk.
Have you made up your mind?
We'll get to that, but first, I have some degree of medical training, so I was wondering—
I have no objections, although we do have our own doctors here.
Only one way to find—
Follow me. Keep your voices down.
Let's talk— Bamoon has fallen into a deep coma, and his prognosis is quite grave. I'm sure that he appears to have sustained a serious injury in his youth, which has been exacerbated over the years by the heavy burden of— Regretfully, I must inform you that based on—
Yeah.
You're his heir, aren't you? You clearly have a lot of respect for the man. But you also see things, so tell me how we can end this on your terms. Let's find a way to bring all this to a resolution while Bamoon is—
Yeah, there's no time to waste.
You know, the two of you are actually in a very similar predicament right now. Both of you have a very different perspective from the men who—
Right. And you didn't create this situation. They did, but somehow you've ended up
You're right. We both look at this problem very differently. I accept, Cyno. This all began because of Hermanubis. Legend has it that when Hermanubis first arrived in Tuletula, he sparred— That group of supporters were some of the first members of the Temple of Silence.
Sounds very fitting.
As a fellow vessel of Hermanubis, your ties to the Temple of Silence run deep.
3 against 3.
However, I have some additional terms. As the letting Cyrus leave with one of the Ba fragments was a mistake. Made by my grandfather out of pity. It is a long-standing issue.
None needed. If I win, the Temple of Silence must release Cyrus. If you win...
It's a deal.
Take it easy.
Well, after how that...
There never was. Turning back hasn't been an option for me since the moment the professor slipped away.
You have to win. You need to...
Yeah, that's right! Besides, it stayed with you ever since you were a small child. Shoo!
Both as General Mahamatra. Yeah, when you put it that way. I've had to overcome a lot to...
Exactly!
The Traveler and I will never lose.
And neither shall I. The desert was home to an ancient and great civilization that, for a variety of reasons, fell out with this. But there must be personal factors at work here, too. I can't shake the feeling that Ba-Moon cares for many more things than he let...
We gather on this day to perform once. This is our most sacred of ceremonies, representing the...
Grandfather, you're here.
A rite of duels after...
I know what I'm doing, Grand.
Representing the Academia,
Ready.
Warriors, we come not to debate what brings our challengers here.
Huh? Are you sure?
I agree. She's very strong. Sending her out first will definitely...
Okay, then...
Sure.
We have decided.
So have we.
Duelists of the first bout, please step forward.
Don't forget, safety first! Hey, you there! You better play nice with her, or Paimon will make you regret it!
A little bit too much chatter from the audience over there.
Propagate!
A swift end to the first bout. When you're both ready...
Let's begin.
Watch out!
He drank plenty of water before the battle, so he should be fine.
And shroud! I hear everything! Can't see? The wind.
Thus ends the second bout.
I'm ready.
So am I.
This is the final stage. When you're both...
I am Sethos. For many years, we have kept our covenant with Lord Hermanubis by guarding the secrets of King Deshret. And even in our darkest hour, we earnestly sought Lord Hermanubis. Now, I will
I am Cyno, General Mahamatra of the Academia, student and successor of Cyrus, the Sage of Spantamad. I fight in defense of my power, and you. I think you left some things unsaid. This is a sacred duel.
Everyone. Old. My grandfather is a wise, but our faith has held us back for times have changed. The people of Sumeru are happier and more free now than in the past. Then I thought of you, Cyno. Each Ba fragment of Hermanubis stands. I once thought that the nature of our fragment.
I am more than just a warrior.
Exactly. The name Hermanubis has left its mark on both. So show me your answer, Cyno. Show me I can be more than my... Bring it on!
That's all you've got? What happened to searching for your answer?
Fight's over. Do you yield?
You won.
Well then, looks like you found your answer.
I give his glory to you.
I've seen that light. That is the light of our Lord, the great Hermanubis, priest over all other priests. His spirit dwells within that lightning, and his will lives on. Once a warrior of Tynar, he emerged from the barren desert sands to serve the god king Al-Ahmar. After the death of the god king, Hermanubis gathered his followers and the Tynarian priests and led them to the city of Tula. There, they founded the Temple of Silence, and from that day forth, we became stewards of all knowledge that survived from King Deshret's civilization. Barely a century passed before war ravaged the desert. One by one, Eremite leaders took up arms against each other in battles that would devour what little remained of their civilization. Only the wise city of Tula was spared under the guiding hand of the Tynarians. But peace did not last. Coveting the knowledge of King Deshret, the beasts set their eyes on Tule Tula, the king of Gurabad laid siege to the city and ordered the sages to surrender to him the Temple of Silence as proof of his victory. The ruling elite colluded with their oppressors, betraying the temple so as to hold on to their rule over the city. They declared that the knowledge guarded by the temple was the true cause of corruption. These were dark days, and we faced enemies on all sides. Our Lord had long since exhausted his strength, keeping the forbidden knowledge introduced by King Deshret at bay. To ensure the temple's continued survival, he broke his being into many pieces and began the ceremony of Hermanubis' legacy, bestowing his power upon his mortal followers. With this power, the temple was able to defeat the tyrant's army. Yet, we were not hailed as heroes. Strange and unfamiliar as this power was, it struck fear into the people's hearts and drove them to reject us. In the end, the people of the temple and the Tule Tula Tainarians left the city for good and made their way to the rainforest. What followed next was inevitable. The elite of Tule Tula fell and were decimated. War engulfed the desert. And we wandered from place to place, always in hiding, all the while keeping close watch over our secrets and staying true to our mission. Betrayal forced us out of the desert and into the forest. Then mistrust drove us from the forest into the desert once more. We have lived in exile for far, far too long. Yet, today, the Temple of Silence has borne witness to the glory of Hermanubis once more. Thank you.
How is it? Do you feel okay?
Grandfather.
Hey, Sethos.
I know.
I guess you were prepared for this.
Yeah. He's been on death's door for at least he was able to see this
What's next for you?
Per my grandfather's last wishes. The Temple of Silence should submit to whoever possesses the largest number of Hermanubis fragments.
But that's never going to work, as I'm sure you realize. I did foresee this possibility, and I gave it some thought. The fact is, I know next to nothing about the staff, records, and environment, Sethos. Were it not for this duel, or indeed if you had other intentions, the Ba fragments would most likely be in your hands by now. I'm sure Bamoon never meant for anyone, but I do.
Still, I didn't think Bamoon looked very surprised by the final result. Perhaps...
Well, in any case, since the Ba fragments are with me, Sethos, I would like you to succeed Bamoon as the new leader of the Temple of Silence. You are more...
But... doesn't that render...
No, it doesn't. This experience has allowed us to become friends. Which means that the Academia... That's a much bigger deal than you might think, Sethos. You said yourself, times have changed.
I will try.
Actually, part of me wonders whether Bamoon's intentions from the very beginning. That way, no matter who won, one of us would have to surrender our Ba fragment. Had you won, the Temple of Silence, and were I to win, he correctly anticipated that I wouldn't suddenly drop everything to become the leader of the temple, much less integrate the temple into the Academia. He knew that the temple's future would depend not just on the guidance of Hermanubis, but the support of the Academia too. So he made it his responsibility to ensure his success. His plan meant that whoever ended up succeeding him, they would have an easier time interacting with the Academia. With one single letter, he lured out the professor.
And here I thought the General Mahamatra wouldn't care for all these. You're absolutely right. Grandfather and I considered this from every angle. We had to find a way to mend our relationship with that. Thank you for everything, Cyno. As a gesture of our gratitude, to those that you and Lesser Lord Kusanali deem worthy, I will grant the honor of... The Temple of Silence has a wealth of information on King Deshret's civilization. More than... But you must be exceedingly careful with your selection of candidates, lest you lead humanity to repeat... By the way, Tainari, my grandfather was so happy to see you. You are a descendant of the Veluca Shuna, and we are the heir. The story goes that King Deshret chose the sage Hermanubis from among the Tainarians. He went on to fight many valiant battles with his the Tainarians who left too late, in all likelihood.
How fascinating. My father once mentioned that I was named after the Tainarians, but...
I like this story.
By the way...
Yes. Cyrus. You'll probably...
If it's true that you and your grandfather really planned for everything...
Who knows?
Someone's got to make the decisions when... I will make a detailed report on all of this to Lesser Lord Kusanali, and arrange for an official delegation from the Academia to... I'm sure you'll have lots to attend to in the days ahead. But once things return to normal, please come and visit the rainforest again. If we're going to work together, both sides have...
I will. All right, well...
See you soon. Come hang out with us,
Follow the wind. Time to go. Take it easy.
What were you thinking gallivanting off into the desert alone at your age? What if you take the bucket, You told not a soul what you were up to, designated nobody to handle your affairs, and left everyone scrambling frantically to try and figure out how on earth to clean up the
Oh, please, will you stop your
What do you mean, what other choice? Do you mean to tell me that after all your years of learning, and sagehood no less, the only idea you could conjure up in that white-haired walnut of yours was to shoot a one-man suicide mission, That's the best idea that one of the finest minds of a generation could come up with, is it? It astounds me that you survived the journey, and you're lucky that Ba Moon didn't...
All right. Honestly, the way you're going off on me, it's like you wish you'd been there to lend him a hand.
I've got nothing more to say.
What do you mean, bag of bones? I'm a flesh and blood hero who, despite his old age, saved our Okay, look. Fine, I admit it, I was in the wrong.
1 month?
Inari's master is really laying into Cyrus.
Professor brought this on himself.
Wow, I haven't seen Master get... The last time he chewed someone out like this must have...
I think I'll go around and update everyone. Tell them the situation's resolved. We can go for dinner afterwards.
Makes sense. I'm in.
Paimon's coming too!
Hey, Kale.
You're back! Well, look who we have here. Would you mind explaining to me what has been going on this past few days?
All taken care of.
That does not answer my question. How could you be so careless? That goes for you as well. When you run into problems, you really ought to ask for help, you know? I've been around the block. Don't you think it would have made sense to involve me? And let's not forget, I know the desert like...
Now would not be a good time to attempt to argue with Farza.
You're right.
Mm-hmm. It's not the first time that I've had to talk to you about this sort of thing either. You need to learn that there are times when the right thing to do is get a more experienced member of staff involved. Do I make myself...
Kale, please do something.
He's giving me the signal. All right. Say, Madam Farzan, I can see you're pretty upset. But, I was just wondering. Remember... Huh? Wait, did I hear that right? Kale, you remember? Wonderful. Well, of course the offer is still...
Poor Kale getting dragged off like that. Also,
Kale! Cup.
Huh? What? What do you mean, cup? Oh, it's nothing. Just Master's way of reminding me to stay hydrated while I'm out and about.
It's code for let's reconvene at the cafe. Tighnari and I used it while we were in school, and it's become something of a family
Oh, that's...
Mm-hmm. 2 people left.
Take it easy.
Am I hallucinating? Or do I see Kaveh and Al-Haytham engaged?
We're just reorganizing all the books we used. Look.
There's no rush. Nobody reads these books at...
My sincere thanks to...
Yes, with your help, we resolved the issue rather swiftly and painlessly. And the outcome was better than we...
I see. The Temple of Silence resorted to rather
And it sounds like they managed to preserve a whole load of ancient documents as...
That day will come. The Temple of Silence is a hugely important organization, and will be now as a token of my appreciation.
Yeah, sounds great. Although after the last few days, I don't know if I...
Sure.
And then, the Traveler just pounced on their opponent and knocked him. Then there was Tighnari. He put up an amazing fight, too. We ended up winning all 3 bouts.
Whoa. Part of me wishes I'd been there to...
A truly edifying account of the events.
Hey, Paimon included all the juicy details. The Traveler just pounced and then waved their sword like this, then spun around and blocked.
Despite winning 3 bouts in a row, you still ceded the position of leader to him. That's very dignified of you, Cyno.
Of course. Being dignified comes with being a true champ.
I got to be a champion too for once. I've not sparred much with desert folk before. It was a pretty
Yeah! Huge place! It felt like something right out of an epic poem! Imagine this. It was like there was...
Maybe save that one for later, Pi.
I think that'll do me for today.
Shall we stop off at the House of Dana again before heading home? We should probably finish.
My thoughts exactly. See you around.
I should get going as well. See you all later.
I need to go say thanks to the Core 30 for their help. Also, Sir Nephis says he wanted to introduce me to some of the Academia's work processes.
Kali's come a long way. She's much more confident at dealing with other people these...
Everyone's a work in progress.
Yeah, true.
That was good. It feels like everything's finally Life is all about these moments when you can finally relax and hang out with good friends after a job well...
Do you three have anything planned for the rest of... If not, would you come somewhere with me? That's a secret for now.
Okay. I think I can guess where you're talking about.
Well, now Paimon's...
Been a while since I last made... Need any help?
It's a nice spot, isn't it?
What a great view! We're so happy...
Traveler, turn around. This is my secret base. Somewhere I only bring... When I was a student, I used to slip away and climb up here all the time, just to clear my head. Back then, I had a lot of the same questions that Sethos was asking. Who am I? Our gifts help us to find our rightful place in the world. That was my experience.
You two really are like brothers.
I feel the same way. Of course.
I still remember one time when we came up here to chat and do our homework.
That was the one and only time. Nothing will ever slip through.
Those were good.
You know, Paimon really shouldn't be able to imagine Cyno doing something like that, but for...
Then make it stop. You guys carry on without me.
Okay.
Huh? Hey, you're not supposed to...
Nowhere to run!
Oh, my days.
Professor, what are you...
Cyno. Just the man I'm looking for. Guess what?
Some old photos?
Can you believe it? This notebook was just sitting in a pile of... I was at the Academia earlier. Well, time flies. Look how tiny you are in this...
You look quite young yourself and... Ah, it's this one. I remember...
Yep. Looks like her work, all right.
And this one.
Oh, cheeky girl.
Is there something you'd like to say to me, Professor?
Like what? Like the... hey, at moments like this, I can't pretend I'm a good person. But Moon had every reason to despise me. And well, so do you if you feel...
Don't be...
Is that... Oh, I've dreamt of that place many times after leaving the desert. Sometimes Oh, it was... You've matured so much over the years, Cyno.
Since you're my professor, I should save you some face by not calling you out on all the non-answers you just gave.
Good thinking. Take your own advice next time. Seriously, why bully an old man like me? Hey, wait, how did I not notice this one earlier?
Lisa...
Look how cute you were when you were little. I remember how well-mannered you...
Yeah, and look how serious and professional...
Oh, I can't compete with you anymore.
Don't...
That... Hey, what would...
I'd like that.
All right, I'll add it to my schedule. Wait, no. Next week is the tomato growing competition. I have got...
Or you could find a
Time has passed, but it turns out grown-up kids are no use. Oh,